Today on Bituminous Coal, we take a look at the Central Indiana and Western Railroad. Indiana is home to many regional railroads and to shortlines, Class 3 railroads. The Class 3 nearest to Bituminous Coal's home base of Fortville, the Central Indiana and Western. The Central Indiana and Western is based in the town of Lapel. Its track runs from Lapel to Anderson, where it interchanges with CSX. The line is indeed short. The trackage ends shy of any milepost 11. However, the action is bigger than that distance would suggest. Primary customer OI, Owens Brockway, requires materials by rail sufficient to keep the line jumping. And, dear rail fan, like so many short lines, vintage equipment can be found hauling the loads. All right, I'm in Lapel, Indiana. See? And the subject of this video is the Central Indiana and Western, a short line. And short lines are near and dear to my heart. I really do love them. My uncle was once an owner, part of a group of ownership that owned the Cleveland Commercial Railroad, a short line that's not around anymore. They sold out to Omnitracks, I believe. I still do want to go visit up there and see, what Omnitracks is making of the thing. But that's another story for another day. Today's story is the Central Indiana and Western. And behind me, what you see is a passenger car, and there's an Amtrak baggage car. I've heard it told, I think it was a Trains magazine article from 4 or 5 years ago, featured this line. I talked about that being a trackside office or some idea of converting that. Well, I don't know about the Amtrak car, but the passenger coach you will see in action, as there was a move around the Christmas holidays of appreciation. Now, shipper appreciation, family appreciation, civic appreciation, I don't know. But at any rate, they made several moves up and down the line behind me here, and we caught that. And then also their bread and butter, their freight business, we have a move that we caught. So with no further ado, let's go to the trains. Headlights on. It's so often the headlights of a locomotive that catch my attention when I make the rounds and see, what's going on around town? And the headlights had been on, and so I stopped and set up shop. They turned off, and you saw them turn back on again. Hey, get off my lawn.
Max altitude reached.
Are you kidding me? Ha ha ha. Sweet nothings between myself and the drone controller. Whew. And the SD40-2 is working hard to pull those cars out of the grade. I decided to take a long fly in to have a look at the grain facilities as we approach I.O. Owens Brockway. OI Owens Brockway. It's a sizable facility, and it has capacity for a pretty decent number of cars. Capacity for a lot of electricity. Check out that substation. Central Indiana and Western 3534, the SD 40-2, is preparing to pull a cut of empty cars off the site. These cars will be taken back to Anderson and handed over to CSX. train meets up now with one of the vintage locomotives, Central Indiana and Western 8307, sitting idle with a cut of cars and a siding. This locomotive, 8307, originally a GP7 built in 1951 for the Frisco. Now it's a GP10, rebuilt somewhere along the way to the GP10 standard. This, at least, according to Trains Magazine. I was a little surprised to see the conductor riding on the outside of the train at this point, but it does stop here in a moment, and I'm going to surmise that a switch needed to be thrown at the point where the side track diverges from the main. Now clear of the town of Lapel, the train proceeds easterly to Anderson and interchange with CSX. Oh boy, that was fun. Happy to catch that move. And now we'll come to a series of special train moves caught just before Christmas. These were very simple concepts. 2 locomotives, 1 on each end, and a passenger car in the middle, and just doing fun out and back excursions on the line. Well, I'm in LaPel, Indiana, and apparently there's some kind of special movements happening on this line. I don't know if it's a shipper special or employee appreciation or something of that sort, but something around the holiday. Some special trains and some special movement. Who's blocking my view? Move along. Get off my lawn. Oh, and there's the star almost on the top of the Christmas tree. And the passengers detrain. And the crew prepares to head back out in a moment with another group of passengers. You can see why the Central Indiana and Western has this trackage that continues into LaPel and why the entire line wasn't abandoned. And you've got these grain facilities and then O.I. Owens Brockway, as shown earlier in this video, the opportunity for some traffic is there. The line first came to my attention when I started working for the Hamilton County Surveyor's Office in Noblesville. This line once went through Noblesville at the mill that's no longer standing. It's funny, the high school basketball team, they're the Millers. Well, there's no mill to be Millers in anymore. Alas. And that trackage is gone. Well, it went through Noblesville, continued through Westfield, and to Lebanon. And the line really just never took off. Sadly. My understanding, most of the trackage was taken up during the Conrail era in the mid-'80s. And now some of that area, particularly Noblesville and Westfield, is seeing the Midland Trace Trail applied over those rights of way. On the move. The excursion moves slowly, but hey, you know, if I'm going to ride an excursion train, I want it to move slowly. I want to take everything in. I bet these folks had a lot of fun on this ride. After running out to nearly Anderson, the train then reversed course to return home to Lapel. Well, there you have it. The Central Indiana and Western. We got to see freight operations. We got to see a passenger excursion, or actually a series of them. We saw their vintage equipment, CI&W 8307, a GP10, and CI&W 3534. And I'll have you know, if you don't think that's vintage anymore, an SD 40-2, or yet, I invite you to go trackside at Norfolk Southern or CSX and see if you see anything but GEVOs, and certainly see if you don't see SD 40-2 or not. I'm betting not. At any rate, being the nearest short line to home base Fortville, I am certain I will bring you more of the Central Indiana and Western in the future. Next time on Bituminouskole, we have a lucky catch. the Providence and Worcester P&W 2325. It's a GP 39-2, and it came through Fortville, being delivered to the P&W out east. What a magnificent looking locomotive that is. I'm excited for the 250th anniversary of our nation and the special liveries that come with it. That was the first catch. This will be seen on the next edition of Bituminouskole. And by, I caught 7 other trains to show you on that same video. So there's no lack of excitement. Be sure to catch it, and I'll catch you next time when I take you to the trains.